What up, Hawk fans?
Welcome, everybody, to Hawk Talk, Episode 1. Here we go. Clap it up.
Here
really
we
quick.
go, ladies and gents. We got Episode 1 coming at you.
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this forever. We've been trying to put it together.
Here we go.
We've been dancing all the
Here we
ideas
go.
around, and finally we're here, and finally we're doing it. It's
We're
currently...
doing it. We're doing it.
Currently 8:52 p.m. Originally, I planned on starting much earlier than this, but the young man was busy working, and then he went ghost mode for a good few hours, and I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know where my co-host was. All right, with that being said, 3, 2, 1, helmet strapped, hip towels in,
Hip towels are in, baby.
wipe your sweaty palms. Here we go. All right, I guess to break the ice real quick, we'll go. Why are you pointing? Or what are you pointing at?
Hand gestures.
Yeah, whatever. All right, to go ahead, and break the ice real quick. Go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name's Colby. We're currently in my house right now. This is our way of affording rent so that I can stay here. Probably will not pan out, unfortunately. Currently, I am a certified nursing assistant as well, so...
Clap it up for the young man. Clap it up for the young man.
Some might say I am a professional wiper of the ass, and there's a lot of truth to that, and I'm proud of it. It's here to stay. Going to be busy this fall, and we're ready to rock and roll. With that, I will go ahead and take it over to my co-host, this young man right here. Go ahead, take it away.
Ladies and gents, you are looking at the one and only Devin Naylor. You know, a little background on my part, never played a lick of high school football, but god damn it, I love Iowa football. Let me tell you, I'm probably the biggest Iowa fan you will ever see. Us two right here.
It's 1A, 1B.
I will give you any information about Hawkeye football. I love that shit till I die. But, yeah, never played a lick of high school football, but god damn it, I'll be at every single home game this season. Yeah. And I work at a chiropractic clinic. You know, I talk about Hawkeye football all day to my patients, and boy, am I learned about Hawkeye football every single day. With that being said, let's get into episode 1. Here we go.
Alrighty. And if you haven't noticed our bougie setup yet, we have we have one working microphone. We have a second one over here that looks like your classic TikTok chicks microphone.
We'll get there one day.
That they use for their vlogs.
We'll get there one day from the help of you guys.
Maybe someday we'll be able to afford it, but unfortunately, we're not in the place to do that right now. I guess first things first, we can go ahead and talk about the show. This is Hawk Talk, if you haven't noticed.
Hawk Talk, baby.
Place that we're going to come to talk about the Hawkeyes, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to talk about the schedule. We're going to talk about players, coaches, just whatever comes to mind.
The whole
We'll
thing.
do some game recaps. Those should be pretty entertaining depending on the result. If we did this last year, week 1, it would have been
a disaster.
a disaster, to be quite frank.
And that's an understatement.
It is an understatement. All right. Yeah, and there's not much the two of us are more passionate about than our beloved Iowa Hawkeyes. If you read the description, I wrote that our channel is 2 armchair quarterbacks. Go ahead and give their I don't know what I want to say here. I'm going to go ahead and give their 2 cents on what they think about the Hawks from the week prior.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah, we're going to do some predictions. We're going to do talk about some extracurricular stuff as well. Should be fun times. Let's go ahead and get into it. First topic. The first thing we're going to talk about is the recruits.
Heard about the new recruits?
Obviously, everybody knows about Cade McNamara. This is the big one.
It's the big dog.
The Hawks wanted to go out and get a quarterback, and they went and did it. So, I mean, not much else to say. Hopefully, we can just keep the guy healthy and playing every week. That's the goal. Obviously, I hear the guys I heard through the grapevine that Cade McNamara is wild animal. He likes to go ahead and get after it, and I respect that, and I love that out of my quarterback.
Exactly. I don't care how much he likes to get out and do shit, but my God, if he just sits in that pocket and drops 60 points every weekend, have at it. Be the man. I don't care what you do, but you come on Saturdays and you come to play, do whatever you want. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Did you watch the Johnny Football documentary? You did, didn't you?
I did. If he's the next Johnny Football, I'm all fucking for it.
That's not what I'm saying.
Cade McNamara is the next Johnny fucking Football.
Yeah. That's not what I was
He'll
trying to say.
be a bust in like 3 years in the league, but he's going to fucking win the Heisman and bring the Hawks a natty. You heard it here, folks. Folks. First, folks. Next topic.
Hold on. I wanted to finish my thought about the Johnny Manziel documentary before you went on a rampage for a second there.
Sorry.
I lost you. But you know that part where Johnny's talking, or his coaches are talking or whatever, how he'd show up to practice just hungover as shit. just showed up sweating bullets at practice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care what you do as long as you play good.
He goes, you better play good this weekend.
You better play good. No, that's where I'm at. As long as he shows up to play every weekend, ready to rock and roll, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another thing I want to throw in about the show real quick is what, are you having trouble there?
No, I was just going to add something on Cade.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I just heard this today, actually, that Cade is questionable for week 1. Right leg injury, it seems like. You know, I mean, if there's a game to be out, it's against fucking Utah State. So, either recover, but I didn't know if you heard about that. I just now heard about it. But Joe Labus will be starting QB if he's at it. Who do you think it'll be?
I was going to actually say that as well. I looked at the depth chart the other day.
Yeah.
Number 2 for quarterbacks was transferred
Hill.
Deacon Hill. And let me tell you something.
That's a fucking tough name.
That guy is a brick shithouse. Go to the roster right now.
I'm gonna look
I
at
think
the
he's
roster.
listed at 6'5", 250 something.
Holy shit! 6'3", 260 as a sophomore from Santa Barbara, California. Wow.
Transferred from Wisconsin.
Put him at fullback.
Transferred from Wisconsin, I believe. Well, look at our start. Hold on. I don't remember his name. Shit. Go to
That's
the...
a 260. What is he, the next Cam Newton? Jeez,
Yeah.
he's huge.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Big boy. Fits right in at QB Sneak University, if you ask me.
Yeah, and you just fall and you'll get 4 yards.
So yeah.
Shit, dude, he's big.
Yeah, he's a big boy, dude. I'm telling you, he's a big boy. All right. Obviously, some of the other transfers that we got coming in. Eric All, tight end. Excited to see what he brings to the
I'm
table.
excited. You know, Iowa being tight end I don't give a shit what anyone else says. Or Georgia having Brock Bowers. Fuck Brock Bowers. Dude's like 38 years old. Anyways, I think we could run a double tight end set with Eric All and Luke Lachey. Just get the ball to those two. Because with our receiving core, all we have is Nico, Caleb Brown.
Transfer
who's
Caleb
a new
Brown.
Transfer.
Excited about that
Yeah.
guy. Deontay Vines. Big time.
Vines.
Glad to have him.
I think our receiving core is our tight ends, basically. We get the ball to them, we run a little fade routes, get their ass in the end zone. I think that's our offense, but we run 2 tight end set. I feel like that is going to work well for the Hawks this year.
Another transfer I wanted to mention, Nick Jackson, the young man from Virginia. Right? Virginia?
I think so.
Yeah. Linebacker.
Pretty sure.
Big time. I think him and our boy Jay Higgins.
Jay Higgins. I love Jay Higgins. Big Jay Higgins fan.
Yeah. Couple of Jay Higgins stands right here. I think the two of them lining up together in the middle is going to be something special.
I feel like if you line anybody up on that defensive side of the ball for the Hawks, you're going to get something special. That's the only thing there is to it.
You're always going to get the well-coached kids because of Phil Parker.
Shout out to Phil Parker, by the way.
Shout out to Phil Parker. With that being said as well, I wanted to talk about some of the people that we lost to the transfer portal.
We've lost a lot to the transfer portal.
Been a tough time in the transfer portal area as far as losing players go, especially for the Hawks because they lost some good ones. Justin Jacobs, I was pretty bummed out about that.
Yeah, he could have been the next Jack Campbell, I believe, but there's only one and only Jack Campbell. But I feel like Jacobs would have been just a solid linebacker for the Hawks. He would have 52 yards all over the field just making plays. It would have been nice to have him on the
sideline
to
sideline. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Then, this wasn't really the transfer portal, but we lost Caden Proctor. That was a bummer. I was pretty bummed out about that.
I don't even want him.
All right, well.
He ain't coachable.
All right. You know what? You're entitled to your opinion,
Yeah,
pal.
this is our podcast. We can say what we want. So Caden Proctor has something to say about it. He can come to Hawk Talk and say something about it.
We'll have him on Hawk Talk someday when he comes back to this great state of
we
Iowa.
won't.
Yeah,
we'll
we
have
will.
Caden McNamara after he wins the Heisman and becomes the next Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. Obviously, we lost a couple receivers. We lost Keegan. Bummed out about that, although he didn't play much last year because of a hamstring.
Yeah, I was really bummed out about that one. He was a guy, just, he could go up and grab the ball. He was kind of a Brandon Smith kind of guy. Throw him a fade route, he'd go up and get it. Shout out to Brandon Smith.
Shout out to Brandon Smith, but you got some hot takes because I don't think they're at all. No.
Well,
maybe that's just me.
Here on Hawk Talk, we state our opinions, and that's it. But
we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, another receiver we lost was Arlen Bruce.
Here,
Mr. Jet Sweep.
Mr. Jet Sweep, also Mr. Take the Under in his own games.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
I also saw the whole point shaving accusations, which I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think he was point shaving at all. But at the same time, you can't do that.
Yeah. Shout out to Arlen Bruce being a little pussy and bending under.
Yeah. Speaking of gambling, or actually, hold on. Last and final recruit we haven't talked about, the one I am the most bummed out about
this one.
I was bummed out about this one the second it came out. Scary Terry Roberts.
Oh,
that was
a big time loss. It's a big time loss.
That was the biggest heartbreak for me as a Hawkeye fan, was losing Terry Roberts.
Yeah, that's a big one. He's a Desmond King. He's going to lock the one receiver that the other team has. But, yeah, it was a big-time loss. I know you're not thrilled about that at all.
No, I'm anything but. I am anything but thrilled about losing Scary Terry. Speaking of the gambling, what do you think about Noah Shannon getting suspended for a year? Obviously, the Hawks are appealing it.
I did. Yeah, not a fan of that either. At all, actually.
Obviously, Kirk and the athletic department are appealing that, which they should. Because I don't think he was betting on any football games. I think he bet on Iowa events, but I don't think he bet on football.
Yeah, Noah Shannon, 6 foot, 295. Oh, all of 295, let me tell you. Dude's a big kid. D lineman. Yeah, that's a big-time loss. I feel like with him and Logan Lee, as well as Joe Evans, that would have really completed that.
Don't forget my boy Yaya Black. Shout out to Yaya Black.
Shout out to Yaya Black. But with them, I feel like they would have completed that starting role of that defensive line.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think it's probably going to get knocked down to like 6 games, probably. At least that's what they were talking about.
I hope so. Obviously, it would be nice to have him for the Penn State game. That would be lovely. But I don't think that will happen. But, hopefully he gets back soon because that'll be a big-time win if we get him back.
Here's why it doesn't necessarily concern me, though, is because I feel like their depth on defense is way better than it has been.
Yeah, we have a lot of
mix
guys who
in the fact that they got Big Cat Phil Parker.
You got Phil
at the
Parker
helm,
as your
running
defensive coordinator. Shit. got all-stars at the end in the league. Just know that.
You can, yeah. You'll always have a chance as long as Phil Parker's your defense coordinator. And then obviously we can talk about a little special teams. LeVar Woods. Shout out LeVar Woods.
Shout out to LeVar Woods.
Big
he makes
fan of
Iowa
LeVar
what
Woods.
Iowa is. I love LeVar Woods.
Then heading over to the offensive side of the ball, we'll go ahead and talk about Brian real quick. Slow year last year. Well, I think slow is an understatement. Dead last in total offense.
Yeah.
People always have great things to say about Brian Ferentz, though. Good friend of mine's dad. You know who you are. Hopefully you're listening. Always tell the story about how Brian Ferentz stuck around after the game and talked to you guys and chatted you guys up in the parking lot after. And I also met Brian Ferentz on a recruiting visit with a couple players. I'm not going to name anybody. I'm also not going to name the culprit, but somebody may or may not have farted directly in front of Brian Ferentz.
What?
On a recruiting trip.
You want to talk about a great recruiting trip?
One of those,
My goodness.
one of those game day recruiting trips. You know who you are. I hope you're listening because that is one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. I'll tell you after what it was. But you know who you are, and I just remember how much I was laughing that day. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think they've got experience and they've got players now that they might not have had a year ago that they were struggling with depth, especially at receiver, offensive line. But now we got people healthy and we got obviously a good quarterback, young running back, young receiver, and some old receivers. Big grandpa Ryagani.
Nico Ryagani. Shout out to Nico Ryagani.
Shout out to Nico Ryagani, Mr. Reliable. Anything else on coaching that you want to?
No, I just feel like Brian is kind of on the hot seat right now, as well as, I mean, you know, Kirk's been doing it for so long. I don't have a problem with Kirk, but, I mean, it's just a question of, I mean, he's an old dude. Like, he can only do this for so long, but I'm a big fan of Kirk, but I believe Brian's on the hot seat. Keep Phil Parker in office as long as you fucking can, as well as LeVar Woods. I love LeVar Woods. Anyways, but
LeVar Woods is
but
love that guy.
I think it'll show this year. I feel like our struggles at QB were a problem, but I feel like we got to change it up a little bit, especially with Cade at quarterback now. That'll really, really help just with our offensive scheme, just airing the ball out, giving our receivers a chance, especially with Eric All coming with him. It's another receiving threat that'll really help the Hawkeye offense.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the schedule a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think? We'll also give our week 1 prediction, which is going to be a weekly thing. We'll always give our prediction for the upcoming game. Obviously, week 1, Utah State. We'll talk about that last. Then we're heading to Ames, Iowa, week 2 against the old Cyclones, looking to get back for that loss that
I feel like the Hawks will really dominate that game. I feel like they will pound the ball up front. I feel like they'll just dominate up front as well as just ground and pound. Caleb Johnson will have, I think, a 3-touchdown game that game.
That is a bold prediction, and it's also going to make a lot of Cyclone fans very unhappy.
Well, this is Hawk Talk, and just know, at Hawk Talk, you have your own opinion, and if they have a problem, come to Hawk Talk.
Yeah, we'll get some Iowa State fans on Hawk Talk. We might as well. Maybe even some Husker fans if I can find one that's not insufferable. Maybe not. And then we're coming back home, Western Michigan, the old cupcake.
Yeah.
The old should-win game.
A warm-up game for the Nittany Lions headed to Beaver Stadium for a classic whiteout grudge match.
Is it going to be a whiteout?
It's a night game. I believe it's on CBS. It's a night game at Penn State. I mean, it's a ranked opponent. I feel like the Hawks, hopefully, knock on wood, they'll be 3-0 by that time. There'll be 2 undefeated teams. I'm looking for a game day on that week.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a game day.
That would be a good one.
I mean, if they go 3-0 in the first weeks they'll bump up in the rankings,
I
maybe
feel like
a couple
to the
spots.
maybe teens, hopefully like top maybe 12 if they blow everybody out, which would be
Jesus
awesome.
Christ.
Maybe everybody gets beat. Who knows? Anyways, wouldn't that be something though?
That would be something. I also don't think that's very realistic. You're going to jump from 25 to 12 by beating Utah State and Western Michigan? But you know what they say. Dare to dream, Jet.
There we go.
Dare to dream. Shout out to Jet. You know
Shout
who you
out
are.
to Jet.
Then we're coming back home against Michigan State that week. The old Fartons.
I hate the Spartans.
I'm not a big fan of the Spartans.
No, I mean,
I don't have a reason to not like him,
I do.
but I just don't.
that Big Ten championship game in 20.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I take it back. Sour memories. We won't talk about that. Let's go ahead.
Punch in the sack.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and move on. This is the Week 6's game, obviously, that scares me the most. At home against Purdue.
Yeah.
That's like
Got a history of that one, too. Went undefeated, number 2 in the country. Boom, just get worked at home against some Boilermakers.
just laid a turd against the Boilermakers and got absolutely destroyed. Got slapped around. It was not good. It was a hard watch.
That was bad.
Then they head to old Camp Randall for jump around against the Badgers.
Yeah. I'm a little scared for that one. Obviously, the Badgers, they've always been top contender in that Big Ten. So, yeah, I don't really like that game. I feel like it'll be, especially if it's a night game, that'll be not good.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. It's not going to be easy by any means. I don't know how Wisconsin's going to be this year.
Yeah, they're always on. They've been, all over the
Or they got a
place.
quarterback, didn't they? Who'd they get?
I can check right now.
I thought they got a quarterback.
Was it a transfer?
I might be going crazy. I thought they got a quarterback. Or maybe they lost a quarterback. They might have lost Graham Mertz.
I think they did lose Mertz. I believe they did lose Mertz. I think I saw that somewhere. But, anyways, back onto the Gophers.
Yeah, heading up to the Gophers. Or actually, the Gophers are heading to Kinnick in Iowa City.
They are. We have a long stretch of home games here, which is nice throughout the end of the year. So we got Minnesota at home.
It's really not a long stretch of home games at all.
4 in a row. That's quite a bit, especially late in the year.
Where are you getting this?
Minnesota,
Unless I typed this in
Rutgers,
wrong.
And Illinois.
Oh, did
all at home.
Did they change Northwestern to a home game?
Oh,
because they're playing at Wrigley.
I totally
I thought.
forgot they're at Wrigley.
Unless
Never mind.
They
Sorry,
might have changed.
Totally forgot about that.
It might not be official because they're talking about getting rid of Northwestern's football program entirely. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Yeah.
That's a big loss. Pat Fitzgerald going down
Fitzgerald.
in the offseason. Bad loss. I feel like Pat Fitzgerald was doing a decent job. He went to a Big Ten title game. But shit happens.
Yeah, and after potentially a game at Wrigley Field. We skipped over the Week 9 bye week, which is, I believe, Halloween weekend in Iowa City.
It is. That's a bad week to have as a bye week.
It's a bad week to have a bye week, but let me tell you, it's also a bad week to be a beer in Iowa City on Halloween.
Or any type of alcohol and a Halloween costume.
We've got some experience with that. We'll go ahead and touch on that when the time comes. Like I said, I told you I got a plan for our Halloween weekend episode.
Hey, Hawk fans, stay tuned to Hawk Talk. We'll take you down to Iowa City and we'll get you game live experience inside Iowa City during Halloween weekend.
Potentially. We'll see. We'll see.
Get 1,000 likes on this video. And
We'll be lucky if we can get 5. And then we got the Rutgers Week 11 at home. Shouldn't be too bad. And then Illinois at home, same thing. Not sure how the Illini are gonna
it was that was tough to watch last year, especially the struggle on offense heading into Illinois for that absolute barn burner against Illinois. That was tough last year, but hopefully we get the job done this year. And then as we head to Nebraska, which same thing.
Hold on, I want to mention one more thing about that Illinois game.
Yeah.
I remember watching it in the Naylor basement over at this young man's house. And I remember sitting there the first quarter. We're just pissed the whole time, obviously,
because
we aren't worth a shit on offense. And then the two of us, as I mentioned, a couple of armchair quarterbacks, are calling out the play calls on every play.
And seriously, run, pass, punt. Let me tell you, we were 98% spot on with the play calling, which also involves Brian fucking Ferentz. And how he just...
Stop. Stop. And then finally, Black Friday, Week 13 against the Huskers. The two of us are going to be in Florida.
That's for sure.
Showing them how...
1 million likes on this video will take you to Tampa, and we'll get you a game live experience in Tampa, Florida for that game.
Yeah. I think 1 million likes, unfortunately, is probably a little far-fetched. And I think, as I said, I think we'll be lucky if we can get 5. Actually, I think we'll be lucky if we can get 5 listeners. And the one thing I meant to mention about that is, out of our 5 listeners, do you think our moms are going to watch this?
No. Hopefully.
You don't think Erin's going to watch this?
She might. Mom, if you're watching this, hi, love you. Go Hawks.
Yeah. That leads me into my next segue. I'm going to go ahead and take this second to shout out our sponsor of the day, Bloomworks Floral.
Shout out to Bloomworks.
Yeah, let's clap it up for Bloomworks.
Shout out to Bloomworks.
Round of applause for the ladies over at Bloomworks Floral. Giving out some roses for Good Neighbor Day. They told me the date, but I forgot what it was.
We'll be back for episode 2. We'll give you the date on everything. So shout out to Bloomworks doing their thing. But
also thanks, Mom, for the free candle. This one is Evening at the Orchard. Love the scent. Sweet blend of orange peel, apple, cinnamon, nutmeg, and vanilla. It's tremendous. Go ahead and give me your honest opinion.
That's a good smell. You can't go wrong with it. It's a great smell.
It's a good smell.
I'd like that in my living room watching some Hawkeye football. So get your candles at Bloomworks to light during that 11 o'clock game this Saturday against Utah State.
Not only do you have to get your candles at Bloomworks, but get your flowers too, because it is it's a flower shop. So, but they do have candles. Yes. All right, let's go ahead and give our Week 1 prediction. I think I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Utah State. Obviously, well, not obviously, I guess, but the two of us are planning on being there in attendance for the game. Heading up to stay with my cousin, potentially. Brady, if you're listening, hopefully you are. We'll see you Friday, probably. But yeah, we're going to be there. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. I'm going to go ahead and take the Hawks at 30-14. 30-14 Hawkeyes.
It's not a bad prediction there. Thing with the Hawks, it's a Week 1 game. I have the most confidence in the Hawks. They got a 91.1% chance to win on ESPN. But yeah, I feel like the Hawks will obviously dominate up front like they normally do. I think the Hawks come out with a 27-10 victory over the Utah State Aggies and propel themselves into the second week against those Cyclones. There's my prediction, and if you have anything to say about it, comment down below in the comments at Hawk Talk.
Yeah, unless you're listening on Spotify, then I don't think you can comment. Unfortunately. The only other... I was going to do a matchup of the week, but I couldn't really... There aren't a lot of good games, but one that did catch my eye was the Huskers at the Gophers. Week 1.
Yes.
This I find very interesting because we'll get to see how different the Matt Rule Huskers are from the old Scott Frost Huskers, who were nothing short of horrific.
Yeah. But my take on the Huskers, they have a new coach pretty much every year. It's not going to change. I feel like they'll maybe win 4 games this year. But one game that did catch my eye
What do you got?
was this Sunday matchup with LSU taking on the Seminoles of Florida State. 5-8 matchup there, which will be tuned on ABC. Go ahead and tune into that. But I feel like
just drilled my knee.
But I feel like that's game that have 2 Heisman contenders. You got Jane Daniels along with Jordan Travis of Florida State. That'll be a good game. I feel like that's the game of the week as far as I'm concerned. But that'll be a great game. Two maybe playoff contenders there. But yeah, that'll be my game of the week. That'll be a pretty solid game. High scoring. Great football.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick for sure. But other than that, it's usually a lot of good teams versus cupcakes week 1. But I am interested to see the Big Ten matchup. Huskers and the Gophers.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That'll be...
Here's another thing I'm excited about. Do you know if Thomas Fidoni's playing week 1 for the Huskers?
I do not know. Shout out to Thomas Fidoni.
Shout out to Thomas Fidoni, and I'm sick and I'm about shit full hearing these Husker fans talk shit on Thomas Fidoni because he's had a tough break with some injuries.
Yeah.
I just want the kid to stay healthy and see the field. Shout out Thomas. Hopefully you're listening, buddy.
Shout out to Thomas Fidoni, but did you hear about that one tight end that got caught with
I did. I watched
bad look.
I watched the video of this dipshit, and it showed him walking past a store in gray shorts, white shoes, gray t-shirt, whatever. Obviously walking by himself, clearly looking at the door, and all of a sudden comes back later with this fucking gray shirt tied around his head like he's wearing a ski mask. Like nobody's gonna notice that he did not walk past however long it was before that because it was obviously still dark. Yeah. And then he takes I don't know what it was. Was it a rock or something?
I saw that video. I didn't
Big
know
rock.
what it was, but yeah, that's just a bad look. I saw Matt Rule's opinion on it. He wasn't thrilled, obviously, but that's just a bad look. But he's number 1 tight end in the 2022 or 2020 class, but yeah, that's a bad loss for the Huskers there.
Yeah, that's also frees up space to get more touches. Thomas Fidoni, as far as I'm concerned. Shout out to Thomas Fidoni. One more thing I wanted to talk about because it absolutely chaps my fucking lips is them moving some of these college games over to Peacock.
I won't shout out to Peacock. I don't like Peacock.
My question is, what are we doing? Why do we have the Big Ten Network as well as Fox Sports and all these other channels, these live TV channels that, I mean, usually you never have a problem watching a Hawkeye game because it's always on Big Ten Network or Fox Sports. But now we're going to have to go and pay for Peacock for one game. It says it's still yet to be scheduled who they're going to be playing as far as the last time I checked. But it's like, why? Obviously, someone like me, a big-time mooch that uses my mom's cable login, I don't have to pay for cable. But if I was paying for cable and then they aired the game on Peacock and I had to pay for something else, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's just something that can't happen. I mean, you have those games that you're obviously tuned into, like let's say like on ESPN2, big time matchup between two ranked teams that you're in want to watch. Now you got to go to fucking Peacock and watch it, and you don't have a subscription. But shout out to Stream East. You'll be clutch this year.
Stream East has been a big time. I don't know if I want to say this live on, or not live. I don't know if I want to say this on the internet at all, but Stream East.
Shout out to Stream East.
I'd clap it up for Stream East if I wasn't holding our lone microphone that we have here.
I'll clap it up for Stream East.
You can go ahead and clap it up.
Gets the job done, folks.
We watch the UFC on it every weekend. Every weekend we watch on Stream
Anything.
East.
They got baseball. They'll have football. They got UFC. They'll have our Blackhawk games on. Shout out to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Shout out to Chicago Blackhawks. Also might be a member of Hawk Talk someday. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about that, I didn't even realize that.
That'll be a good addition.
But yeah, hopefully nobody watches this so they don't all take over Stream East and then it doesn't work because then I'm going to be pissed. But that's okay. Some other games that I saw were on Peacock. I think they're the only teams they put on Peacock. Or no, never mind. But these are some top 25 teams that are going to be on Peacock. We got Michigan versus East Carolina, which is this weekend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is this weekend. Yeah. Ohio State hasn't been scheduled yet. Penn State versus Delaware week 2. Washington versus Michigan State's going to be on there September, what is that, 16th? Not wearing my glasses. I can't fucking see it. It's too small. It's anyways. We got Notre Dame versus Central Michigan. What'd you think about Notre Dame versus Navy over in Ireland?
Well, obviously they're playing the Navy midshipmen, but I think Notre Dame looked good. Sam Hartman, former Wake Forest, but he looked good. I think he's just a quarterback that'll just hit your receivers. He's just a guy that will walk into any college offensive scheme and just play well. He's a guy, former QB1 star on Netflix. But yeah, he's a good quarterback. I liked how he can air it out and just make plays for the Fighting Irish this year.
Yeah, he just looks professional while he's out there. Not super flashy by any means, but
shout out to Sam Hartman.
Shout out Sam Hartman. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who I'm not shouting out. The Navy midshipmen.
Yeah, they got dog walked.
I'm not shouting them out because
they got dog walked.
A good friend of mine, you know who I'm talking about, and you know who you know who you are, you sumbitch. Telling me to take Navy plus, what was it, 21 and a half? And they got absolutely shellacked for 4 quarters. Thanks for basically influencing me to donate to the cause MGM.
Yeah.
Just throwing away my money.
That's a donation right there. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but it was an absolute David versus Goliath. Goliath took that one by a landslide. But yeah,
it was pathetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is my favorite section of the day, and I want you to start it off. We're going with our top 3 players we are most excited about for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and hand it over. Go ahead.
Do you want to go one by one or all 3?
You go all 3.
All right, so my top 3 were all around, just they can just play. But I went kind of younger guys. I went with guys who maybe didn't play as much last year, but can now they can see their potential. First one I'm gonna go with is RB1 Caleb Johnson, 6 foot 220. I think he's gonna have a great year. I think he will dominate. I feel like he's got that Derrick Henry vibe. No, obviously a Derrick Henry kind of guy, but
I just want to take a second to mention this kid's comparisons. Some of them are absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. I'm starting to forget the ones that you said earlier, but Jesus H, we need to get those clean. We need to get those cleaned up. We'll get those cleaned up.
Yeah, whatever he's saying. Back to NATO. But yeah, Caleb Johnson, I feel like he's just going to have a great year. He's just going to run behind that line, run that stretch play to the right, and he's going to get, 6 a crack. Shout out to Caleb Johnson.
Shout out Caleb Johnson. Hopefully you're listening to, bud.
Yeah. The next one that I'm going to go with is a captain that'll be in Week 1's game. It's going to be Joe Evans. I like Joe Evans. I love Joe Evans, man. He's DN. He's just a guy that kind of reminds me as, I wouldn't say an Epinesa. He's not like a star player, but he's just a solid DN that you can just rely on every play. You know what I mean? He's a guy that I love at that DN spot. But speaking of Epinesa, we got his younger brother, Eric, at a linebacker spot. Shout out to Eric Epinesa.
Shout out to Eric Epinesa. Hopefully you're listening to.
And then my last player will be Xavier Nwankpa. He's a guy that will be just a star player at that safety position. But, yeah, he's a guy that 4-star recruit coming out of high school. Started that last game against Kentucky, had a pick 6. That'd be nice if we had one every single game from him. But, it was Xavier Nwankpa. He's going to be a guy that I think we'll remember as Hawk fans for a long, long time. So there's my 3. But yeah, drop it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube who your top 3 are, and we'll recap on the later end of the season. And I'm going to hand it off to Coob Show for his top 3.
All right. For my top 3, I went a bit unorthodox.
Mm-hmm.
We did not have any of the same players, thankfully.
Thank you.
And at the 3 spot, I'm going to take it over to the offensive side of the ball. I'm really excited about this guy. I think he's going to take a leap from last year to this year. Obviously, I stayed away from some of the obvious names. Obviously, everybody's excited about Cade and
Yep.
DeJean.
Everyone's excited about Cade and Eric All, unless you're going to go with Eric All.
Actually, I want to give my honorable mention first. Take it back over to the defensive side of the ball. Sebastian Castro.
Shout out to Sebastian Castro. We've been Sebastian Castro fans.
I've been a Sebastian Castro fan.
I love Sebastian Castro.
I've been a Sebastian Castro fan ever since
Sebastian Castro. Baby.
Ever since he's seen the field. Shout out to Sebastian Castro. I've been a big fan of him.
Oh, love Sebastian.
All right. With that being said, at my 3 spot, I'm heading back over to the offensive side of the ball. I'm taking it to somebody that we know very well, who's near and dear to our hearts, who I think is going to take a big leap. We're sticking to the Council Bluffs native, starting center Logan Jones.
Shout out to Logan Jones, baby.
Shout out to Logan Jones.
Louis Central native.
Logan, hopefully you're listening, man.
Logan, he's the quarterback of the lineman. He's gonna snap that ball. He's gonna hit somebody every single play. Shout out to Logan Jones.
Yeah, I think he's gonna take a huge leap.
I think that's
took on
a big case.
Took on the center role last spring. Came into the fall. I thought he did fine.
I think he did well.
For the situation he was put in, I thought he did very well.
Yeah, snap into one of the...
Stop.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to throw it out there. That penalty that you got against Michigan, pancaking that dude after the play. Not even after the play.
Bullshit.
But what my grandfather refers to as the ponytail ref called... I don't even know if she's going to be reffing any Big Ten games anymore.
Yeah,
anyways.
You can send her ass to the curb.
At my 3 spot is a young man, Logan Jones. I think this year
Jones.
is going to be a big year for him.
Good. Yeah, I like that pick.
At the 2 spot, go ahead and keep me on the offensive side of the ball. I've been talking about this guy for 2 years. Every game, I say we need to get him the ball more. We need to get him on the field more. Luke Lachey.
Luke Lachey.
That's what I got. Luke Lachey. I swear, I've been saying for the last...
He's been a big Luke Lachey guy. He's saying we should hit Luke Lachey on almost 50% of our air passes.
That's not quite true, but I am a big Luke Lachey fan, and I swear I say every game, there's Luke driving some dude 10 yards downfield out of bounds and just absolutely planting him into a pile of shit, and it's my favorite thing ever. Also, he's gigantic. Look at what he's listed. We've seen him in person, too. He's a big guy.
Luke Lachey.
Big guy, really good athlete.
He's 6'6", 253, junior from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big guy. That's a big guy. I'm telling you. Hold on. Try and see. All right, hold on. I'll do it after. And then at the 1 spot, the absolute heart and soul of the Hawkeyes, particularly last year, Mr. Punting is winning, Mr. Australian Tory Taylor.
Shout out to Tory Taylor. Everybody's a Tory Taylor fan.
I am excited to get Tory. Well, I'm not. Hopefully we don't see a lot of Tory Taylor this year, but at the same time, I want to see a lot of Tory Taylor.
I love Tory Taylor.
Because he gets it out there and he sticks it with inside the 5.
Yeah.
All the time, and I love it. And as I say, punting is winning. Yeah. As long as Tory Taylor's back there taking the long snaps, we'll be fine. And we'll win the position.
Yeah.
The field position battle. And I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. I like your picks there, especially that Luke Lachey pick. That Luke Lachey pick's a good one. Luke Lachey's stats in the 2022 season. Only had 28 receptions on 398 yards. Just think about that. 14 yards average each catch. Yeah. Get him the ball, first down, plus more.
Yeah, that big bastard's averaging 14 a pop. Hold on, can I see this real quick? I want to find somebody on the roster that I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to. Let's see, how do I get back there? I tell you what, this guy's got an all-time college football name as well as his position. Let's see. There it is. Mr. Fullback, Rusty Van Wetzinga.
Shout out to Rusty.
Shout out Rusty. I saw that. I think he's listed as number 2 fullback right now, or maybe he's number 1. I don't know.
No, I think he's number 2. Our starting fullback is going to be Hayden Large at a door.
He is a large man. He's a brick shithouse. He's
Large.
6'5", 250
Holy
playing
shit.
fullback. That guy's gonna open up fucking semi-truck holes in the line, and I'm all for it.
I love fullbacks. I live for fullbacks. I think Hayden Large is going to be just an Iowan fullback. He's going to lead the way. Just get on his tail and stay on his tail.
I want this to be an Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson situation. Hayden, you're going to be Aaron Rodgers, and Rusty, you're going to be Zach Wilson. We're going to get you shaped up for the future because I want Rusty to be the guy someday. All right. Any other potential breakout stars you can think of?
No,
obviously you
I
said
think
Caleb.
The big names. I'm actually excited to see how the receiving core does, especially Deontay Vines.
We haven't gotten to see much of him. He didn't get the ball much last year, and then I know he struggled with some injuries early on. But I know he's a good player. Yeah, for sure.
I like him. He didn't get on the field much, but I just want to see, because, with Nico Ragaini being the 1, I feel like he'll fall into that 2 spot, maybe get some reps there. But I'm excited to see him this year. Hopefully he can step up and fill that role. But obviously our main focus is tight ends with Luke Lachey and Eric Hall.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Who else is on this that we want to mention?
Also, guys, get your merch. Clear Eyes, Full Hearts, Nebraska sucks. It's a great shirt. It's probably one of my best shirts.
It's pretty
Get
good.
your Iowa gear. Tune out Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time. It'll be 12 a.m. Eastern Time. And was that right? 10 a.m. Eastern Time? No, that's right.
You're
that's
right. You're right.
But, yeah, tune in. It'll be on, I believe, FS1. So you watchers on TV, tune in to FS1. But yeah, I feel like the Hawks will get the job done.
Yeah.
Should we move that into our week 1 prediction?
We already did that. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody else I want to mention. Can you think of anything else? Anybody else you want to talk about at all?
No, I mean, the only thing I'll touch up on is our DBs. I think our DBs is very strong, with Quinn Schulte being our veteran safety, and then Xavier Ronkba being that star safety as well. But we have Cooper DeJean, who absolutely balled out last year.
Also, if you haven't seen this guy's basketball highlights, go look up
Check him out.
Go look up Cooper DeJean basketball highlights on YouTube.
Dude,
and do yourself a favor.
He banged out. It was like crazy. Cooper DeJean is a crazy athlete.
Shout out to Cooper DeJean.
Shout out to Cooper DeJean.
Hopefully you're listening. Love to have you on someday. We'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think our DBs will be our strong suit. It'll be a no-fly zone in Iowa City every single Saturday. You bet your ass that. But that is all I got for our roster.
Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on before we go ahead and get out of here?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Finally happy to get this started and get this going. We've been talking about it forever, like I said. Glad to have you with us, all 4 of you. Mom, you better be listening or you're going to get an earful from me.
Watts McBride.
Yeah. Watts McBride. Shout out to Watts McBride. Well, we'll see you out there on the field someday. Yeah. I just want this show to be something anybody can listen to, not just the Hawk fans, but obviously I think we're going to cater to the Hawkeye fans a little more. But even if you're a fan of just football and you want to hear about 2 dudes that are just really passionate, go ahead and tune in and help us achieve our goal of, earning $1 million someday. Well, it's going to be a long road, and we got a long ways to go. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Check us next week after the Week 1 recap. We'll talk about the Week 1 recap, and we'll just touch on the Week 2 game, and you'll get our opinions on that. Any upcoming news. Tune into Hawk Talk next week. I don't know what day it's going to be, but we'll give you a heads up, a little announcement there.
Yep, we'll give you some insight, hopefully a couple days before it comes out when we're going to do it. But yeah, you'll get the whole Week 1 rundown. We'll be there. And then you might get some Week 1 experiences too. I think it's going to be a riot of a weekend. I'm excited.
Yes. Go Hawks. Go Hawks. Cheer on those Hawks this weekend. We'll be there, so stay tuned. Like I said, 11 a.m. Eastern or Central Time. Should be on FS1. But if not, we'll see you next week, guys.
We'll see you next week. Stay tuned for the Hip Towel merch, as well as some shirts and some hats. Of course, we gotta find the money to pay for all that shit first, but we'll figure it out. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, guys.
Go Hawks,
Go
baby.
Hawks. Go Hawks.